Please welcome Chief Executive Officer, Microsoft Corporation, Steve Ballmer.
Well, thanks. It's fun for me to have a chance to get up and chat with people today. I will say we decided to sort of shake things up a little bit in terms of the format of this meeting this year and give you more time to interact with a broader set of our people and do that over the technology. And I know you won't be shy on telling us whether or not that was a good idea or not. We'll appreciate the feedback, and if it was good or bad, tell us what you would do if we wanted to continue to refine. Feels like a long time since the last presentation in this room, but we're all talking about whether the breakout worked well, and we'd love your feedback as part of the forums. I'm going to pick up and really talk about our consumer businesses today, because I think a lot of the issues that we see in our consumer businesses are very much on the minds of our shareholders, the folks in this room, et cetera. So Kevin and I just kind of decided to split the work up and have me take some of the issues around the consumer business. I hope absolutely you got a sense out of Kevin's presentation on how much not only opportunity we see in the enterprise, but really how far we've come. And certainly as I think back, 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, a lot of what we would get out of CIOs was Microsoft's not an enterprise player. We don't get that anymore. We're one of the couple, I would say, couple or three people who really corporate enterprises turn to for their key IT needs. Real question today is, where are we with the consumer? Where are we going with the consumer? And what does that mean? And I want to do that in the context of the businesses that we talked about this morning. Because in some senses, I think from time to time in discussions I have with some of you, we talk about the consumer like it's sort of broad, airy-fairy, there's no particular focus. In our case, the consumer investments and innovation and work that we're doing really focuses in a few areas. It's about what we're doing around Xbox and the television more broadly. It's about what we're doing in phones. It's about what we're doing in search with Bing. It's about Windows. I was talking to some folks at lunch today. If you ask what's our biggest consumer product, answer of those 400-odd million PCs that'll get sold the next year, over 2/3 of them will get sold to the consumer. So our biggest consumer product, no question, actually is the consumer Windows PC. And then there's Office. If you look at our Office units, something like 2/3 of them wind up in the hands of what I would call a consumer, either buying on their own behalf or through an academic institution. That's about 2/3 of the units. It's not 2/3 of the revenue, but it's about 2/3 of the unit volume on our Office product. So individual and personal devices, productivity, research, information, those are the areas, entertainment, in which we have chosen to invest as a company. There's actually a lot more areas somebody can go after, and there's some pretty interesting ones out there that people are investing in terms of how technology will affect the consumer. I'd say the good news, from the standpoint at least of many of you that I talk to, is we're pretty focused in a set of areas that we think have big potential. We're making some big investments in some of these areas, no question, but this is kind of the profile for us from the consumer perspective. And I want to talk a little bit about each of these in turn. I want to start with Xbox. For many years at this financial analyst meeting, the big question was, when will Xbox make money? And, we dug a little hole, told people we'd dig a little hole, probably dug a little bigger hole than we planned on digging, but we've certainly emerged wonderfully from that hole. And we have a business today that I certainly am real proud of, both in terms of what we're doing from an innovation and product perspective and what it means to the company financially. The last year was a very, very good year for us. We now have over 42 million Xboxes out there, and over 25 million of those are connected up to our Xbox Live service. Some of them are subscribers, some of them are participants at the so-called free level, but it's really a very large, strong, vibrant community. I was meeting with an executive we were talking to the other day from the media business about a set of things, and he said, wow, you got more participants as members in your Xbox Live service than almost any video service on the planet does. And that's an incredible asset on which you shouldn't rest on your laurels. There's sure a lot more living rooms that could use a device connected to the television that is intelligent. You should do all of that work, but it's an incredible asset and presence on which to build. It's, if you will, a form of social networking that is quite popular. The big sort of drive this year, in addition to new form factor on the console that is lighter, produces less heat, less noisy, easier to manufacture, which is shipped already, of course, is the Kinect sensor, which I hope, I don't know statistically that all of you got a chance to play. I don't think that's because we didn't give you the opportunity. I just didn't see some of you jumping up and down on the river raft out there. But it gives you something of a sense of what I think is a pretty interesting, pretty important, and certainly an innovation and a product that I'm very proud about. And if you look at the kinds of remarks from, people who observe these things, Kinect really is kind of a wow thing. And we're in market, or we'll be in market here during the fall, and we've got a set of applications that take advantage of it, and we have more things coming. At the E3 show, we talked about a next generation project around Xbox Live and Kinect that we're doing with ESPN to change the way that people consume sports. New form of input, new kind of content delivered over a new kind of device. There'll be over 3,500 events, baseball, basketball, NCAA, that you can essentially get access to across Xbox Live, and that you can navigate, if you want to, using your voice, using your hands, using your body, using the Kinect infrastructure. We've got an application that does Video Connect, which is essentially, if you will, teleconferencing for the rest of us, or at least those of us at home. And you use Kinect and the peripherals and everything else to try to build a different kind of view on how that next generation experience works. The key thing about Kinect is it also gives us a chance to broaden out kind of the positioning and appeal of Xbox. Xbox, I think, has been pretty good at sort of appealing to the sweet spot of the hardcore gamer. And the next step, of course, is to broaden out to others, because the ambition has to be to put an exciting device that runs applications like Xbox does, that is socially connected like Xbox is, that lets you get access not only to those applications, but to TV and video and internet content, and to continue to drive that to many, many, many more living rooms over the course of time. And so I like where we are. I think this is going to be a very exciting Christmas. I have no forecast I want to give anybody about how many Kinects we'd wind up selling, but I think we really are on to something that I think is just super neat. Second, Bing. One of the questions on the gang there of investor questions is Bing progress. Bing progress. I tell you, this is a year that's had at least a year of progress in it. I mean, it's really, to me, even quite stunning to think we just launched Bing 13 months ago. We've grown, depending on how you like to talk about these things, we've grown our market share 40% in a year. You could highlight for me that it's not that many share points. It's 8 point something to 12.7% U.S. share. It may not be that many share points, but just think about all that extra infrastructure and the work we're having to do, because our total volume of queries is up, close to double year on year. And we have the Yahoo integration coming in front of us. Hopefully, we're all working hard to get that done in the United States by Christmas of this year. But the volumes and what we're learning to do and the scale and the benefits that can bring to us, both in terms of improving our algorithmic results as well as our advertising results, I think is pretty interesting. We've made a lot of releases in Bing. We've had kind of a frequent cadence. We have, in the Bing group, kind of two cadences of R&D execution. One that delivers things very frequently, And in the meantime, we've got more major innovations that have to happen on a longer cycle. But just, if you look at what we've done in shopping and local and health, in travel, where we're going in finance and entertainment, I think really quite some progress. I was flattered to see that our visual differentiation has been a source of concern to Google. Glad to see them emulating us in some ways. I guess that's a form of flattery. But we're not confused. We got a lot of work to do here. We're not confused that investors see the big price tag to get into this business and say, what's the progress going to look like on that? And to which I tell you, last year I got up here and talked about kind of a range in a number of years that was, potentially 5 years, kind of some pretty big investments. I got to say, I like the progress that we made, but it's going to take a lot more. We're driving hard right now, for example, in mobile. Mobile's very important to us, and really nobody's got the formula perfectly figured out. If you look at what we've done with Bing, certainly on the new Windows phones, if you look at what we've done with Bing on the iPhone, I think we've done some of the very best work anybody's done to try to get search to be really appropriate and relevant and interesting in the mobile world. So we're pushing ahead. I can't tell you that there's a point on the imminent horizon in which you can expect the business results to flip, but I can tell you to expect to continue to see really interesting work. We've got a lot of brand buzz. If you look at the people who use Bing today, it is a younger crowd on average than use anybody else's search engine. It's been amazing to see where the pickup and appeal's been. People have an open mind, and they're moving to try a new and fresh and interesting approach to how you get things done. Not how you search, how you actually get things done and complete tasks that are important to you on the internet. Third, Office. We launched Office 2010 this year, which was a big deal for us. In the grand scheme of things, people do lose sight of the fact, as I said, this is a consumer product. And while most of the revenue comes on the business side, there's a lot in this new release that I am excited about, and I want to emphasize from an innovation perspective. Job one for everybody is really just to make these products simpler, to let people get access to more capabilities without having them have to spend a lot of time studying and learning. And you certainly see that in what we've continued to do in the user interface, making things simpler in Microsoft Office. There's a set of emerging technologies and trends that we had to embrace with Office. The web. You now have browser-based access to the Office applications. Phone, touch, social networks, and social computing. We've brought those technologies into Microsoft Office. There are new scenarios where we've pushed note-taking. Nowadays, any version of Office that you buy, you're going to get a copy of our OneNote application, which we've taken to the next level. And particularly when you think of the ultimate information worker, the student. I even look out in this audience, and I see a lot of people taking notes. It turns out that note-taking is an application area. It's a scenario where I think there's still a lot of work to invent all of what people will want for the category. There's new features. In all of the applications, there's new features. Kevin Turner at our sales meeting, he's gotten so excited with the PowerPoint effects. 15,000 people, and he explained to everybody what the name was of each effect as he transitioned between slides. Super simple for average users, not just experts, to go do. The business, the analytics in Excel, some of the advanced management capabilities on email and Outlook, I think a lot of people will appreciate. One of the questions I get most, though, for investors is, what about business models? What's going on there? We introduced a form of our Office web applications for the consumer market, not for the business market, but for the consumer market, that is integrated in with our Windows Live service and is free of charge. That's a piece of work that we did this year. And I get a lot of investors saying, oh, is this a real problem? I think the opportunity for us, people will pay with their own money for things that make them more productive. And we know that. At the same time, people are also willing to pirate what will make them, even in this country, it's not a China-specific problem. You can probably find a student in a neighborhood close to you that has a copy of Office that they didn't pay for. And so in some senses, our number one opportunity with Office in the consumer space is to broaden out the number of people who are exposed and then choose to pay. There are plenty of people who don't choose to pay. And the combination of having a very well-priced, low-cost, $100 kind of offer that people can pay for, in addition to having more people who we can reach over the web with trial editions, which we're now including with many of the world's PCs, we have a lot of business model innovation effectively for the consumer, which I'm optimistic about being a source of potential revenue growth as we move forward. So those would be kind of the first three. And then we get to probably the one that I think is most important. It is the most important from a financial perspective, and that's Windows. You know, this was an amazing, amazing year in the sense that Windows is our flagship product. Windows and Windows success is a tide that floats all boats, so to speak. Suffice it to say, I didn't love everything about where we were in the market, say 2 years ago. And yet today, we launched Windows 7. It's gotten exceptionally well reviewed. We got 94% customer satisfaction on the product, which is stunning. Sales of Windows 7 PCs have skyrocketed. We built a team that I think has a very strong capability now to repeat, not easy, but to repeat the kind of great work that delivered Windows 7 itself, which I think as an investor is an important capability for you to think about. And the PC market has been able to continue to grow. I mean, despite economy and everything else, the notion that there's 400 million, at least a forecast by IDC, that there'll be 400 million plus computers sold in 2011, that's unbelievable. This is today, may not be 5, 10, 15 years from now, but overwhelmingly, this is the most popular smart device on the planet. Yes, phones, more people will carry phones than will carry PCs, but this is the number one smart device on the planet today. And we're going to continue to invest to make these things change, morph, keep up with the times, drive new innovation, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Perhaps one of the most surprising things to most people is how well we've done on a market share basis. You know, I look out in the room here, and I guarantee you we don't have the same market share in this room that we have in the U.S. at large. In the U.S. at large, we've actually built share from a laptop share. I'll focus on laptops because that's the growth part of the market. And we've gone from about 90% share to close to 93% share over the course of the last few years. Other guys are also doing very well. The market's been growing in general. But we've actually picked up a little share. Now we got some other competitive actions coming back, and we'll talk about slates and tablets and blah, 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 blah. But if you kind of look at where we are, the products we've delivered, and the progress we've made, I think there's no question that this is probably the thing I'm most proud about that the company's done because it's kind of in our first and flagship product. We're going along the normal cycle. These things will be serviced and updated. We have literally hundreds of millions of people, consumers around the planet, who get updated with fixes and security and patches, and that infrastructure continues to keep these people super satisfied. So this is a very gratifying year, certainly from a Windows perspective. And things can flip pretty quickly. People go from, yeah, I'm really excited, God, they shipped Windows 7, ooh, we got off to a great start, to, hey, I'm worried about the future. And I'll get to that. But I think it's worth a pause and a moment to reflect kind of on how much progress we've made in the last 12 months with our Windows product and its quality. At its core, the value proposition for Windows and its online extension, which we call Windows Live, is to really create a nice integrated experience that allows for choice in hardware, phenomenal operating system and browser, and the greatest selection of peripherals and applications on the planet. We're trying to complete the experience more and more. Because of a variety of regulatory and other issues, we happen to break Windows effectively into two offers. Windows that comes guaranteed with every PC, and the Windows Live applications and services, which many of our OEM partners choose to install. We've got mail, we've got IM, we've got tools and technologies to help you keep your files in sync, to share things, to edit photos, to make movies, to keep your PC safe. And it's certainly an area where I think we can do a better job of bringing the full Windows story to the fold. I got back from a trip recently to Africa with my kids. And literally on the way home, I sat down, I made the whole movie. And for years, we've kind of gotten hammered by competition on, hey, we're the platform on which people do creative things. And I say, no. When you look at the total Windows and Windows Live package today, that's really not where things are. So across the end user experience and applications, the operating system, the hardware, the applications, we're pushing forward. We're in the process right now of launching the next generation of our Windows Live products and services, and it's a kind of an exciting time certainly for us in that dimension, and an important part of the Windows strategy. I talk about selection in hardware as an asset, and it really is. Don't know how many of you went around, took a look at all the machines we're currently showing, but at our sales conference last week, one of the guys got up and showed Windows really in all its forms. You can find gas pumps with Windows built in, medical equipment with Windows built in. Turned out we were in the Philips Arena in Atlanta, and most of the lights are controlled by some Windows embedded piece of equipment, which of course our salespeople found amazingly interesting. But in terms of mainline consumer devices, we've gone from not having a category called netbooks, a very low-end, relatively inexpensive machines, to seeing that explode to 15 or so, a little bit more maybe percentage of the market, and that we've gone from having no Windows to having Windows be the guiding piece of software. Ultra-thin laptops, regular notebooks, desktops, all-in-ones. The all-in-one category's exploded. TV PCs. We had a big honker gaming PC. Every one of these requires innovation. Innovation, some of which goes on at Intel, some of which goes on here in our Windows team, some of which goes on at our OEMs. But we have the widest array of form factors on the planet. Today, kind of, I'd say one of the top issues on my mind, let alone on your minds, one of the top issues on my mind is, hey, there's a category that we have had Windows actually on for a long time. We've had Windows 7 on tablets and slate machines now for a number of years, and Apple's done an interesting job of putting together a synthesis and putting a product out in which they've sold certainly more than I'd like them to sell. Let me just be clear about that. We think about that in a competitive sense. And for us, then, the job is to say, okay, we have a lot of IP, we got a lot of good software in this area, we've done a lot of work on ink and touch and everything else. We have got to make things happen. Just like we had to make things happen on netbooks, we got to make things happen with Windows 7 on slates. And we're in the process of doing that as we speak. We're working with our hardware partners. We're tuning Windows 7 to new slate hardware designs that they're bringing to market. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of cacophony. There'll be people who do things with other operating systems, but we've got the application base, we've got the user familiarity, we've got everything on our side if we do things really right. We'll get a boost sometime after the new year when Intel brings its new Oak Trail processor to market. Oak Trail is designed to be lower power. Lower power is good in a lot of ways. It leads to longer battery life, no fan, lower kind of noise levels, a lot of less weight, a lot of things that people like. And as focused as we are on this category, our partners are also focused in on delivering the systems and the chips that will enable kind of our architecture to continue, and our software product to continue to move on. So we think about these devices, and I don't think there really is one size that fits all. I don't think everybody wants a slate. I've been to too many meetings with journalists who'd spend the first 10 minutes of the meeting setting up their iPad to look like a laptop. Laptops actually are well designed for a lot of things. I notice they're all light. In fact, if you look around this room, they all weigh 0 pounds because they're just sitting on the table. You're not holding them, and you don't set them up when you want to type, and they prop up. They have good attributes. But some people are going to want that form factor. Some people are going to want probably a screen that they take with them, and maybe they throw it back into the keyboard. Some people are going to want a device that's screen and keyboard that spins around for inking purposes. Some people are going to want things very light or very cheap or very expensive or very powerful. All of those things are going to be important. And we've got to push right now, with our hardware partners. Some of you will say, well, when? And I say, as soon as they're ready. They'll be shipping as soon as they're ready. And it is job one urgency around here. Nobody's sleeping at the switch. And so we're working with those partners, not just to deliver something, but to deliver products that people really want to go buy. There's been a lot of action, some of which that we've talked about in the past that may or may not ship, new things that will ship, and then there'll be things that will get updated and upgraded as Oak Trail comes to market. We do think the fact that we've invested in touch, we've invested not only in touch, but we've invested in ink. I think ink is kind of a nice thing. I know a number of people in this room are taking notes, some with a pen, some are typing. Notes are still a pretty good thing. Markup, annotation, we've got a huge investment in ink in addition to touch. You'll see us try to bring those things together over the course of the next months and beyond to really deliver a set of slates and convertibles that I hope people will be very excited about. Rather than have me just talk about some of this stuff, I'm going to invite Brad Brooks from our Windows team to come up on stage. Brad's going to do a little bit of a demonstration of kind of Windows Live, some things that maybe you haven't thought about, machines you haven't seen, and then we're going to transition to talk a little bit about phone, which I think is the other big question that I'd like to address before we break today. So please welcome up on stage Brad Brooks from our Windows marketing team.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Steve, and good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. So, as Steve pointed out, there's a lot of things that are coming online, and whether it be around touch, whether it be around hardware form factors, or the cloud, we got a lot of things that are lining up here, starting the holiday timeframe and moving forward. Speaking of cloud, in Windows, we have a unique point of view on the cloud for consumers, and we call it the PC. Only in this case, we call it the personal cloud. And the personal cloud, well, it's going to connect all the things that are important to you and make them available and ready for you to use wherever you're at, whenever you need it. That's going to be our promise to consumers. And it's going to be centered around you, because we don't believe around here that one size fits all. We believe in choice. And we believe that you've got to bring that together in a lot of different ways for customers. But the personal cloud, it's going to do a lot more than just connect your Windows 7 PCs together. It's going to connect you to your entertainment choices and bring new content into your personal cloud. It's going to connect you to the people that matter to you most. And, of course, it's going to connect to different devices that you want to connect to, like devices in the home or ones that you might carry in your pocket. And we are going to take this already super popular Windows 7 PC experience and make it even more compelling for consumers and deliver it on a scale that Microsoft can deliver it on. So starting this fall, the things that I'm about to show you, this personal cloud delivered through a Windows Live update that will be coming, will be available to every existing Windows 7 PC user and every Windows Phone 7 user. And by Q3, a vast majority of all PCs that ship to consumers will have this pre-installed, so people will have this personal cloud experience as part of their Windows 7 experience right out of the box. And of course, that will come with every Windows Phone 7 as well. So with that set up, let's go ahead and get right into the demo. So to orient you to what I have up here on stage is I've got a number of Windows 7 compatible or connected devices that started showing up on the market in January with the launch of Windows 7 in October. So I've got an Onkyo receiver here that you might find in a whole home stereo system. Over there, I've got new Xbox 360. I've got a media center PC underneath that high definition monitor. And I've got what we call a Western Digital box over here that connects through my home network onto these PCs. All of these things are connected through a standard wireless home network that I've got set up here on the stage and out to a direct tap into the internet to give you the experience of what a customer will go through. So let's first start out with Bing. So as Steve pointed out, this is our decision engine for the web, but it's also going to become our decision engine for consumers in terms of how they think about content and entertainment choices for their personal cloud. If I go to this category here in entertainment, this is a new beta version of Bing that's coming out. What you see happens and pops forward is Bing has gone out across the internet and brought together all the different content around entertainment choices that are happening in real time. So I can look and see what the top songs, the top movies, top videos. I can drill into different types of experiences here, and I can see what's going on with Shakira. I can see what's happening with my TV show. So I get a very rich, immersive experience immediately, but I can do a lot more now with Bing as well. So I can go ahead and type in one of my favorite bands, ZZ Top. All right, that dates me. I'll let you know a little bit more about me personally. But what immediately pops down when I pull down ZZ Top is a lot of different choices about how I can experience ZZ Top. I can go to zztop.com. I can see what their tour dates are. I can also go here into the Songs tab and hit Songs. And what I have here is it gives me all the songs that ZZ Top has made famous over the last 30 plus years as they've toured the world. And if I hit here in the buy column, I can immediately buy and download these from any of my favorite music services that I might be a member of that I'm partial to, whether it's Zune or iTunes. If I go over here to the play button and hit that, what pops up is Bing is now integrated to the Zune service. So now I get a preview of that song. And as you can see with this button, with one touch, I can hit Buy MP3, and I can pull it right down onto my Windows 7 PC. But when I do that now, coming this holiday, it will not only come down onto my Windows 7 PC, it will come down into my personal cloud. And what does that mean? Well, first off is every device that's now connected to my personal cloud can have access to that content. And one of those devices can be a Windows Phone 7. So here I've got a Windows Phone 7, and it's outputting into the screen here. So I'm using this real time. And if I go into the Music Hub here with ZZ Top, go into Music, now my song is right there on my phone. It's wirelessly synced to my phone in the background with no extra effort for me because this is connected into my personal cloud. But it's not just that the Windows Phone is going to be a great MP3 player. It also happens to be a great phone. And it also will be a great camera. If I go into the Pictures Hub here, and go drill down into here, I can see some pictures that I took out on the soccer field the other day. And the reason I took some of these pictures, whoops, go ahead and open that up again. The reason I took some of these pictures is I promised my team that helped me set up this demo that if they do a good job, I'm going to take them to the Sounders game. And as you can see, we went out onto the soccer field to kind of get jazzed up for it and took a number of pictures. And these all came off my phone. Now, two things happened as soon as I took these pictures. Number one is, as soon as I took this picture, a web-optimized version of this picture went immediately out of my SkyDrive and shared it with all of these gentlemen because they were connected to my SkyDrive. So immediately it goes out into my personal cloud and becomes shareable. But as soon as I take this Windows Phone 7 home and plug it into the power charger, it recognizes my home network and immediately syncs to my Windows 7 PC in the background. I don't have to do a thing. And then when that happens, now you can see some of the new updates that are going to be coming on Windows 7 PCs this fall. One of those new updates is around Photo Gallery. So I popped open here. These pictures have now shown up on my Windows 7 PC. Here I'm going to go ahead and touch and open them up. I can flick through them here. And what you can see is that none of these pictures are perfect. Soccer ball in his face, scarf in his mouth. Augusto can't seem to keep his eyes open. But just because I can't take the perfect picture, now with the new Windows Photo Gallery, I can make the perfect picture. So I go ahead and select them all, go to this new feature called Photo Fuse. Now Windows 7 is bringing all these pictures together, and I can take the best elements of them. So let's see. Augusto, I like you with your eyes open and smiling. Ryan, let me outline you with my finger here and take that out of your mouth. That easy. So now I've just made the perfect picture, and I can start sharing it along. I go ahead and hit Save. And now that I've saved this file, I can select it here, and with one touch, shoot it up to SkyDrive and share it out with all those team members. Hit publish. So that easy. That's how this is going to start come together around having whatever's important to me wherever I need it, with new capabilities on Windows 7 and what's coming with the personal cloud. But that's not the only way that I can keep things in sync and share across my personal cloud. Another way is with the new Windows Sync feature. Now, as you might guess, with my job, I have quite a few PCs. And here you can see any number of my PCs here. And one of the problems that's been in the past is keeping all my content in sync. Pictures or a PowerPoint document or a Word document, it's on one, but it's not on another, and that can always be a little bit of a pain. Well, now with the new Windows Sync feature, I can choose either one folder, or I can choose all my folders on a PC, and I can choose to share them, and they automatically sync up in the background whenever I'm connected to the internet. So that means all my files and all my content across all these devices always keep in sync. But it gets one step better. You can see here, as I got something called Thorsten's Desktop. He was one of the guys in that picture. Because he has a Windows Live ID, I can actually plug in his Windows Live ID into that sync feature and sync content from a particular folder right to his PC as well. Show you how that works. Why don't I go ahead and open up Photo Gallery here again and snap it. And why don't I go ahead and open up the folder that I've chosen to sync with. And now what I'm doing here is I'm taking from Photo Gallery and I'm moving it over into the folder. Now real time, what you're going to see over here on the right screen, that was Thorsten's PC. I don't think I showed it to you quick enough, but it went out over the internet, synced that picture right to his PC that's connected through the internet on that right-hand screen. So real time, all of this content is going to be updating. It almost becomes a stateless experience for folks around their content and their experiences. But it even gets better because my personal cloud, now thanks to Office 2010, has apps in it. And what do I mean about that? Well, let's go ahead and open up this experience. What I've got here now on my SkyDrive account is I now have the ability to do Office 2010 PowerPoint document editing, OneNote notebooks, Excel spreadsheets, and Word documents right up in the cloud. I don't even need to have Office 2010 installed in the PC to get access and do editing on these things. But even more importantly, it's in my personal cloud. So when I open up and have this document up here, is that it immediately shares out with everybody that I've connected with or I've choose to associate this particular notebook with. And so I can go ahead and say, well, let's see, who is coming? Rather than writing that in, I can go ahead and add that photo fuse picture I just created. And now I've taken that picture, I've put it up onto the cloud, and now it's updated this document and synced out across to everybody that's using this document at the same time. Real-time collaboration coming across my personal cloud with the people I choose. So let's take it to the next step is I don't want to just be able to share and get content on my personal cloud. I want to be able to manage it. I want to be able to interact with it because it's going to connect and bring all these new relationships to me. And now with the new Messenger interface, we're really changing the game about how you integrate social interaction across both your personal cloud as well as connections to other social networking experiences across the web. So we've integrated with Facebook and with Flickr and other services, including every Windows Live customer. So now in one hub, I can see what's recently going on. So I can see real-time feeds that are coming off of Facebook. I can see photos that are coming off of Flickr or other Windows Live customers. I can see what's happening with me. As you can see, that picture I just updated is there now. If I go ahead and type in something like, I don't know, let's say go sound, oops. Sounders. I can go ahead and put that in. And as soon as I do that, well, misspelled it, Souders. As soon as I do that and put that in, it will update across all my other social networks real time, so that information goes out. I've got one hub to manage all these connections now. Now, it's not that, and that is, trust me, from a standpoint of being able to bring this all together for customers, it's going to be a pretty compelling experience. But it's not just that Messenger is great around now bringing these social networking interactions across my cloud as well as other sites across the web. It's also a great communications client. It is the #1 communications client, IM client in the world today. But let me tell you how it's going to change now come this holiday. And here I've got an early prototype of a form factor here around a Slate device. And I've got Messenger running on it. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. As we connect into the service, looks like we're having a web connect. I'll go ahead and try that again. There we go. All right, so I've got this open up. I'm going to go ahead and click on Ryan here. And Ryan was another one of the gentlemen that we had here, and I'm going to go ahead and start an IM conversation with Ryan. But rather than do it through text, I'm going to do it through a video call because we think a highly portable device like a Slate should have communications built into it. It's one of the advantages that we can bring by putting it around the PC. So hey there, Ryan, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, how's it going?
Good. So remember those pictures we took out there on the soccer field the other day?
Of course, those were a ton of fun.
Well, we didn't quite take the perfect picture, but we made one with photo galleries. So what do you say we share them?
I would love to see them.
All right, so this is a new feature that's coming with the new Messenger. If I open it up, I can now hit the share button over here, and I can share from any of my content sources across my personal cloud or on the PC itself here. So if I go to the online album here, my SkyDrive opens up. I can go ahead and click on those photos working around with. And now what it's doing is it's bringing those photos down and it's putting it right into the conversation, into my video chat screen. And what does that mean? It means a whole new way of starting to share and interact across these types of devices. So here I can manipulate the pictures, or on Ryan's end, he can do the same thing. He can manipulate the pictures.
These look great, Brad. Love it.
So I get this real-time communication now with my friends, my family, my coworkers using this type of experience. And not only can I put pictures from across my personal cloud, I can put flash files in there. I can put home videos in there. I can put URL links. And I can put that into my conversation as I'm communicating real time. So we think this is going to be a very compelling experience, not just on portable devices, but across all different types of devices as we really take the connections across the personal cloud to new levels. So now you've seen some of the things that we can do around sharing and syncing and connecting with folks. Now I want to show you something that we think is going to be very compelling around consuming content across your personal cloud and with a device or a form factor like, well, we go ahead and shut that down. With a device or a form factor like a Slate. So here I've got another Slate form factor and again running Windows 7. And I'm going to pop open an application here that this is a prototype application that we've been working with Microsoft and using to help train our ecosystem about how to create great touch-first applications on Windows 7. And so this particular application is what we call internally Surfboard. I'm going to go ahead and open up the music session. And remember that song that I downloaded off of Bing? Well, now, if I go to Z, it actually shows up here, because it is on a connected PC across my personal cloud, and this PC can now see this and use this across the personal cloud. So this Onkyo device that I had in my home, well, I can go ahead now and take this content off my personal cloud, and I can move it right up to that Onkyo device. And because that Onkyo device is connected through into my personal cloud with Windows 7, I can now take that music and play it across my PC through this from my Windows 7 PC into this device. But I can take it much farther. So why don't I go ahead and go into videos here and go ahead and say that my wife, we're planning a Hawaiian vacation later on this year. I want to go ahead and get her excited about that. I'll take this Hawaiian surf video and I'll play it off to the Xbox over in the den. So again, through one PC interface, I can start controlling that experience in a different part of the house through my wireless network and my personal cloud. Now let's say my wife wants to go ahead and set the kids up in the den and she wants to move to the main TV. I can take that right off the Xbox and move it right over to the main TV that's connected up to my Western Digital box. And I want to take the kids and I want to take a children's program that I recorded on that Media Center PC over there, and I want to take it off and I want to push it over to the Xbox in the den so they can start watching it there. And meanwhile, Ryan went and sent me a video of what he's doing over the weekend, which is being the mascot for the Seattle Seahawks, and I can pull that up to the Media Center PC. And so now, there you have it, is I've now got this portable remote control device that is my Slate PC that is now collected across my personal cloud. This is really going to change about how people think about experiences and what they're doing with a Windows 7 PC plus a personal cloud. I'm going to go ahead and shut all those off, simply. So I've shown you what a Windows 7 PC is now becoming. It's much more, and it's much more because it's Windows 7 plus this personal cloud, putting whatever's important to you wherever you go. But it doesn't stop there. This personal cloud concept, well, it's going to become even more compelling because it integrates into your Windows Phone 7 as well. And to change the point of view now, as I've talked about it from the PC to the personal cloud to the personal cloud to the phone, I want to invite Augusto to come up here and show you more about Windows Phone 7, the personal cloud, and how that's all going to come together for consumers. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad.
Augusto.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. So what I'm going to show you here now is my Windows Phone 7. This is a phone that I have been using for a while. So what I'm going to do to actually show it to you is just to connect this USB cable so you can see on the screen what I have in there. So I'll just connect this in here. And what you see on the screen really soon will be the exact thing that I have on my phone. If I put a finger, you'll see one dot in there. If I put two of my fingers, you'll see two of them. So what you see on the screen is exactly what I'm doing here. So what you see here first is that it's providing me information, even before I unlock my phone, it's providing me information that is important to me, like, for example, the time, the date, my next appointment coming from my Exchange or my personal calendar, and also some notifications, like, for example, how many emails I have received since last time I used my phone. If I swipe it up, then it asks me for my PIN. This is the first integration that we have with Exchange. So it pushes down a policy saying you have to block your phone, so if you lose it, I mean, you can wipe it up remotely so people won't get access to your information. So I'll just enter out my PIN that now everybody knows. And you'll see something very different when we actually head into Windows Phone 7. This is a new home screen in Windows Phone 7. And it's different because Windows Phone 7 is a different kind of phone that brings together everything that matters the most to me. And here you will see how, for example, I have here information about my missed calls, all these photos coming from people that is actually people in my contact list, people that I care about, my text messages, my email account. I can see my calendar here, so I don't need to actually open up my calendar to see what my next appointment is. I can scroll down a little bit, and you'll see I have an office tile there. And these are the concept of the tiles that actually are more than icons. They bring information to me so I can look at what's going on at any time. And then I have here my browser. Now, the way that I chose to customize my phone, and I have the option to actually do this, is that I have the things that I use in more like an hourly basis and kind of like at work here at the top. But if I pan down, you'll see that, for example, here I have now personalized my phone. So I have my photos, and I actually chose the photo, one of the photos that I chose to show on my home screen. I have access to my personal Hotmail account. I have access to my Xbox Live, and that happens to be my actual real avatar in Xbox. So that's actually my avatar in there. I can look at my music. As Brad showed before, this is integrated with Zoom. And the photo that I show there is the latest artist that I was actually listening to. So it's very customized to me. I have access to Marketplace to download applications. I also have a nice picture of me, so I don't forget about me. And then I have here access to another Exchange account, so we support multiple Exchange accounts in just one phone. And then I also have access here, and I have pinned into my home screen a couple of applications that I use in a very regular basis. So all my apps, even though I have access to multiple apps, I can pin the ones that are more important to me on this home screen here. So what I will do now, and you see, it's very easy for me to switch from work to life or personal, work to personal. And I chose to customize it this way. I can move things around as well. So now, what I want to do is I want to see what's going on. I've been traveling with my phone, and I haven't been in contact with my friends. So what I want to do is I just want to see what's going on with them. So for that, I click on that People Hub that I was showing you before. This is the concept of the hub. The hub is a place where we have everything that is related to people in just one place, all integrated. right? So the first thing that we show here is the recent people. These are the people that I have been expending most time lately, like sending emails or receiving text messages or calling them. And they it's bring up for me so I can have access to them really quickly. Now, if I pan to the side, now I can see here my full list of contacts. Everybody that I have on my contact list, coming from Exchange, coming from Facebook, coming from Windows Live, everything in just one place. We integrate all these things for me. And then if I keep panning around, because, and actually showing up my own card as well, showing my status update in Facebook and Windows Live. That's the first thing that we're showing here. And if I pan around one more time, it shows me as well what's going on with my friends, right? This is connecting automatically to Facebook or Windows Live, and it's downloading the status updates from my contacts right in here on the phone. So I don't need to actually go to another application to see what's going on in Facebook. Everything is integrated into just one place, which is very differentiation. Now, what I see here is that actually Brad had put a couple of things here, like, for example, this photo 15 minutes ago. So that's probably what he did with you guys here earlier. And what I can do here, as you can see, I have updates here from all my friends. So I have Brad, I have April, I have Katie here, and I have everybody. But if I want to now filter around by Brad, I can just click on his name. And it will now filter my feeds just for what Brad has put into his Facebook account. So I can have access to all that information. If I say pan to the side, then I can see Brad's profile and contact information to give him a call, whatever, everything else. I can see his latest updates as well. So if I go back here, the interesting thing is that it is connecting again to Facebook, and it's bringing down all the information that I have from him. And what I can do is right from here, say, for example, click on this status update that he put, and I can say something like, for example, go Sounders, which is my favorite team here in the US. So there we go. I just say that, and then I post that thing. And then the interesting thing is that, again, it is fully connected, so it'll go back into Facebook or his Windows Live account, and it'll show that as well. Now, see here, now it's showing me here the photo that he took up. I can click on that. It is connecting to Windows Live, and it's bringing down the photo. I can actually enter also a comment here. It actually turned out to be a very nice photo. I don't know how he did with it. So I'll just say, it turned out to be a good picture. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I made a couple of mistakes, so I can go back and then correct those things. If picture is corrected, I can then say, instead of ruin, it's turn. So the phone is very smart, so it allows me to actually go back to a word and not have to type it again. It still gives me the options to correct those things. And then from here, I just can post this in it. And there you go. It is now posted into his Windows Live account. Now, since I'm going to be spending good time with Brad, we're going to a Sounders game on Friday. I want to pin Brad's information down into my home screen. I just click on that button, and now I have customized again my home screen, and I have Brad there so I can have access to his information from my home screen anytime that I want. Now that I have that, let me jump into email. So I'll just open up my email. I want to see what's going on with my email. And here I can see my very nice view of my email. This is connecting to Exchange, but it can connect to Hotmail, to Gmail, to Yahoo, to any type of email as well. But with Exchange, we have very nice things that we can do, like, for example, support flagging. So if I flag something, it will show. If I flag something on my PC, it will show up flag here on my phone as well. Or if I flag something on my phone, through Exchange Active Sync, it will synchronize into my PC as well. So I always know when I flag something to follow up later. But the most important thing typically is that I want to triage my email really quickly. I want to filter my email to see what's going on. So here I see all my email. But if I pan to the side, same concept of the hub, I can now filter my email and show only unread email. So things that I haven't read yet, which is typically the thing that I want to see quickly on my phone. Or I can filter again and I see only flag emails. Or I can filter again and say only urgent emails, emails that I have received as urgent. So it's helping me out to be very quickly when I want to do different type of things. Now let me go back into my unread email, and I can find this email from Andy Lees, which is actually a meeting request. We think that email and calendar should not be two separate experiences or two separate applications on the phone. We think it should be everything very well integrated. So here, I'm receiving my meeting request in my inbox, as I do in my Office Outlook. And as you can see, my email knows about my calendar already. Right? So it's already telling me that I have a conflict for this particular time, and it's showing me up here in this link. So if I actually click on this link, it will take me directly to the calendar, to the exact place where that conflict is happening, so I can see what the problem is. And there it's showing me my calendar in 2 colors. You see there's blue items and red items. The blue items are coming from my personal Hotmail calendar account, my Windows Live calendar account. Again, my personal cloud is coming down into my phone. And the red items are coming from my Exchange server account. So I have my work calendar and my personal calendar in just one place. So I have access to my life, because sometimes I have things that I have to do outside the work. And I can see my conflicts in there. So what I can do right from here is see, for example, in this meeting from Andy, which is actually conflicting with this Sounders game on Friday, which is a trouble for me now. It's giving me all the information about the meeting. It's actually giving me access to a SharePoint site where the documents are, which I actually, by the way, can access completely from my phone, so I can prepare myself for the meeting. It's giving me information like that. It's also telling me who's coming to the meeting, so I know who's coming, who Andy has invited as required, but also as optional. And I have all the information that I need to either accept, decline, which is going to be the most likely scenario in this time, or propose a new time for the meeting. So let me go back and then actually open up the meeting from Brad, which is the one that he's inviting me to the Sounders game on Friday, where I have a conflict. Because the same thing, I want to see what's going on here. As you see, it's in blue because it's coming from my personal calendar. I can also see, even though this is a Windows Live calendar appointment, I can also see who the attendees are, whom else he invited. Okay. Oh, and I see that Andy is actually invited to the game as well. So probably that other meeting is going to get canceled. All right. So anyway, something else that it's included into the information in here is that Brad included the address of where Westfield is, which is where we're actually going to watch the game. So instead of me having to copy and paste the address, the only thing I need to do is just click on the address, and now see how naturally we're flowing, and it automatically takes me to the mapping application, because even though there is a mapping application on the phone, we don't need to close the calendar and then go to the map. We just flow the way that we are supposed to be flowing. And it's taking me exactly to the place where the game is going to be, in Westfield. I can zoom in, and we're using here Bing Maps. I can keep zooming in. And Bing Maps is very smart, so it identifies that if I zoom in enough, I'm not really watching, I don't really want to look at the map. I really want to look at the photograph. So it switches from map to satellite automatically for me. I don't have to do it. And if I zoom out again, it goes back into the mapping view. But it doesn't stop there. It is location aware. So it knows where I am right now. So it'll take me now into the place that we are right now, which is here at Microsoft in 150th Avenue Northeast, right? And since it knows where I am and where I want to go, I just click on the give me directions. And there we go. It's giving me the directions of how to get from where I am right now to where I need to go. Again, the whole experience is very well integrated, and everything that we have on the phone flows very naturally. Now that I know where I need to go, I can decline on that meeting, and I can on that other meeting, and be sure that I'm going to go to the Sounders game. So let me go back to the home screen here. And for that, the only thing that I need to do is to press the Windows button, and it will always take me back into the home screen. And then what I want to do now is to plan our after-game celebration, because I know the Sounders are going to win, so we want to go celebrate. So we're going to a Chinese restaurant. So for that, let me just open up the browser, or I'm sorry, the Bing search, and it knows where I am. So I'll try this. Chinese restaurant. So the Tell Me infrastructure is actually recognizing my voice with my accent and everything, and it's bringing up the Chinese restaurant searching here. So now it's connecting into the website. It knows where I am, so it'll give me information about which Chinese restaurants are around the location that I am right now. And it gives me the maps. It gives me the different options that I have. So everything is in just one place. If I click the map, it'll give me directions on how to get there. Say that I want to go to this Peking Chinese restaurant. I'll click on that one. It gives me more detailed information about it, right? The rating, the directions, the phone. I don't need to copy and paste the phone number. I just click on that, and it'll make the phone call, and I can call to the restaurant to make a reservation. Even the website, I have access to the website here. If I swipe to the side, I can look at the reviews and read each one of the reviews, so I'm sure that I'm not taking my friends to some place that it won't be probably very good. So then let me go back and say that, for example, I'm going to just check onto the website to see how the restaurant looks like. So I click on that. Again, no copy. I don't need copy and paste. I just go straight to the website. Now I'm opening up the browser experience. You're seeing at the browser here, and it's showing me here the website from the restaurant. Cool. I have access to the menu. I can see what's going on really quickly. Everything is good. Now I feel safe that I'm taking them to a good place, so I'm OK with that. And as you can probably notice already, I'm a very big soccer fan. So what I want to do now is to actually go to the FIFA page. So I go to the FIFA.com page on my browser. As you saw, I moved between one tab and the other, so we fully support tabs on the browser. And here, I'm showing up the FIFA page. The interesting thing is that it shows you a very nice view of the whole page. If I actually double-click on one particular article, it automatically zooms in into the specific size for me, which is a better size to read. If I double-click again, it'll focus specifically on the text, so I can actually look at the text very clearly. If I want to zoom in even more, see how nice the typography of the phone looks like in there. So it looks really, really nice. And if I double-click again, it'll go back to the previous one, or it can go back into the home page. Now, since I access the FIFA homepage a lot, because I want to keep always on with what's going on with soccer, I can also do the same thing that I did with Brad's contact. I can actually pin it to start. Oops, I went to settings. I can actually go and pin it to start. And there you go. I'm yet again customizing my homepage again, and I'm adding a live view of the website right in there, so I can actually go and have access to that particular website anytime that I want. So that's the way that you can customize your experience all the time, and that's very differentiated. Now, something else that I have been doing is that I have been preparing as well the pre-game party that we're going to be putting together with boys before we go to the game. And to do that, I have been using, and I'm opening up the Office Hub now, another different hub, which allows me to have everything that is Office-related in just one place. I've been using OneNote to keep track of the different groceries and the shopping list that I have to buy things for our pre-game party. So I have that on OneNote, but before I go into OneNote, let me just pan around really quickly to the Office Hub to show you what else we can do with this. We can actually have access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint documents here. We can modify them, we can view them, we can put comment in there. And these are documents that I have probably downloaded or saved from an attachment that I received on an email. But most importantly, we also have access to SharePoint. So right from here, I can access SharePoint servers that are in organizations and start collaborating with teammates from my organization. I can enter comments on my Word documents. And if I save something here, it will be saved back into the SharePoint server. So everybody else on my team is going to have access to the latest version of the document that I even modify using my phone. But let's go back to that note. So I open up that OneNote here. This OneNote, I open it up in my PC, in my OneNote 2010 PC application. I started it up over there. It automatically synchronized over with SkyDrive. And now I'm accessing this note from my phone. So we can actually access, again, my personal cloud comes down to my phone, and I can access my OneNote right from here. And I can see that actually Brad made a modification because I shared this SkyDrive with Brad, so he could actually make changes to the OneNote, and he added the picture right there. From here, I can click on this OneNote, for example, and I can do cool things on my phone, like, for example, take a picture and upload it in here. Or I can take a voice recording, like saying, get more beers, because I see that there's a bunch of guys coming to the game. And there you go. Now I save this OneNote. And everybody, once I save it, everybody who has access to this OneNote on the web is going to have the latest version of the OneNote there as well, or myself. So the last thing that I would like to show you now is how thousands and thousands of existing ISVs are taking advantage of the infrastructure that we have using Visual Studio, Silverlight, and XNA to build up really, really cool applications with Windows Phone 7. So what I want to do now is I just wanted to quickly open up an application that was developed by Associated Press. And they did this in a very short period of time using, again, Silverlight, XNA, and Visual Studio. And what they've done is basically take advantage of the design concepts that we have on the phone, and they have built up this news reader that, as you can see, behaves very similar to whatever else I have shown you with the hubs in the different in all the other hubs that we have on the phone. So the experience for the end user is going to be very, very, very consistent. If I go to top news, see, it goes, and it comes directly into the top news. I can click into one particular one, and it'll bring down specifically the details on that particular news. Or I can comment on the news. I can do multiple different things on the news. Now that I have read my news and I'm up to date to what's going on, the last thing that I want to do is just go to my Xbox Live, right, hub. I can see here the different games that I have. We're going to be doing very big announcements about the cool games that we're going to have when we launch the phone that are going to be developed together with Xbox and are going to support achievements, gamer score, and all those things, so stay tuned for that. Here we can receive announcements from Xbox Live, and it'll come down into our phone so I know what's going on. But what I wanted to show you is the level integration that we have where I can actually show my real avatar in there with my Sounders t-shirt, with my gamer score, and the latest achievement that most likely my kids did for me. So with that, I hope you guys are excited as we are. I think the phone is looking really, really good. And I would like to go back to Steve. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you get a little bit of a sense, not just on some of the kinds of things that we're doing with Windows, but some of the things we're going to put in the marketplace with Windows Phone 7 and the range of devices. We'll have devices from Samsung, from HTC, from LG, from a number of players as we come to market this fall. A number of you had a chance to kind of ask me the question, and it was certainly one of the things we highlighted, which is, how are we going to do? And I think it's probably fair to say we got a lot of work to do, and it isn't all going to happen overnight. And yet I think the opportunity to do interesting work, differentiated work, to build market share, is actually pretty good in the phone space right now. I think that the focus we've had on two things. Number one, to make sure that we're doing the software right, the end user experience right. We actually designed kind of the core hardware platform for these things. We call them our chassis specifications. The OEMs, the hardware vendors, innovate on top of that so that we have a guaranteed set of hardware on which we can do this kind of interesting and exciting and usable software. I think it's been, gives us a phenomenal opportunity. I hope from Brad's discussion of mine, you also get a little bit of sense on what we're doing on other portable form factor Windows devices. I talked about some of the competition that we're going to see on the so-called Slate. A lot of work we're doing there to tune up, not only for what you would call classic Windows applications, but for consumption scenarios. And we're going to push ahead on all dimensions, if you will, quite hard. We say I'm a PC, I say I'm a phone too. Part of what we'll be doing is driving kind of an integrated set of thinking, branding. I got asked a lot whether we'll be really aggressively marketing Windows Phone. Both Windows PCs in all form factors and Windows Phones will get pretty aggressive marketing support, if you will, all within the boundaries of everything Peter's had to say about our operating expense guidance. I'm not going to go back through some of the key elements of Windows Phone. I'm running a little late, and I think I can't do any better, frankly, than Augusto already did in helping you get a little bit of a sense, and he did all of that on prototype hardware. So when the actual phone shipped with the software, with production hardware, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I want to end with just a couple remarks about our stores that we've been opening. Partly because I want to talk about the stores, and partly because I want to talk about kind of an evolved attitude and an evolved approach we have to PCs, to phones, to Xboxes, to everything on the consumer side. What I think we have certainly come to appreciate over the last few years is we need to do whatever we need to do in order to make sure that there's hardware and software and third-party innovation that comes to the fore in the consumer market. We can't sort of accept what I might call artificial roadblocks. So in the case of phones, we said we actually have to be involved in the design chain, at least at some level, on the hardware. One of the things I think is interesting, and has been interesting for a number of years, even if you think back to some of the original tablets, a lot of the most interesting and exciting PCs you can't actually buy in the retail stores that are in existence in the US today. I always walk around with my PC, and I'll get people ask, oh, what do you use? What's that? But the machine I use, you can't actually buy at a Best Buy store. So if you're talking to your friends, there's an interesting observation in that. Just as we need to remove hardware innovation as a boundary for doing kind of what we think is interesting for the consumer, we wanted to make sure we also didn't have a distribution challenge, that the most recent, best, most current innovation has a chance to come to market. And so we are in the process of opening up some stores. The goal here is not per se to sell all the world's PCs, but we do sell PCs in the store. But much as we engage on the enterprise side in consulting and services and support in order to make sure that we can be at the leading edge, we can really get close to our consumer, our customer, the enterprise, we want to do the same thing with the consumer customer with devices. We want to be absolutely sure that you can see the latest and greatest, not because we're going to dig some big profit hole. I don't believe in that. Kevin doesn't believe in that. But in a way that may not be the #1 profit driver for the company, but certainly that doesn't lose money, we have a touch point and a distribution point and a showcase point with consumers. This is not a kind of idle marketing activity. We're open stores to sell stuff. We've opened now our first few stores. And the reaction that we've gotten in the communities where we've opened has been really quite positive. We've seen nicely growing revenue through those stores. It'll be great to have an exciting line of phones that we can put in those stores. It turns out you can get a whole lot more revenue per square foot if you're selling something other than just PCs, Xboxes, and software. Today, we will announce that we're opening up some new stores at the Oak Brook Center near Chicago, the Mall of America in Minneapolis. We'll be opening one here in Bellevue Square. Our employees kind of thought that they should get the first store, and I didn't think that, nor did Kevin think that would be very representative. So Kevin Turner and David Porter, who we brought in to run the store efforts, you can see here we'll now have a number of locations. We're open in Denver and San Diego, in Mission Viejo, Scottsdale, Bellevue, et cetera. And we'll continue to make openings and kind of drive this as a key part of our consumer strategy. Not a new strategy, but a key part of the strategy we have for Windows, for Bing, for Windows phones, for Xbox, and et cetera. If I come back to the topics, the questions that we think are on your mind, I tried to hit a little bit on iPads and slates and what we're doing about it, a little bit about Windows Phone, and a little bit about the progress that we're making in Bing. I'm going to turn things back over to Peter Klein. Peter's going to talk some about the financials overall, but he'll also spend some time talking a little bit about how we see the economics in the cloud. Thank you very much, and I'll look forward to the Q&A later.